we have a special guest with us, and we're delighted to bring him in. Chris Bosh, 11-time NBA All-Star, 2-time NBA champ, and originally a member of the Toronto Raptors. He joins us now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Chris, thanks for being with us this morning. We'll get into where the NBA is right now, but as a guy who was drafted by the Raptors, and he used to make funny commercials, by the way, YouTube videos promoting yourself as an NBA All-Star as a member of the Raptors, once as a used car salesman with a cowboy hat, which I really enjoyed. What does it mean for you to now see that city and that franchise win its first championship?
Well, it's sort of unbelievable, really, to be honest with you. Toronto has always kind of been a sort of laughingstock of the NBA. And, to be honest, it was really hard trying to get other players and recruit them to come and play. And the fans got a bad rap. The organization got a bad rap. And everybody goes through struggles. But just to see them elevate to a level of winning an NBA championship, I mean, that's the thing that nobody thought would ever happen, So it's great, really great to see those guys get to experience that.
And Chris, to that end too, with Anthony Davis specifically, because listen, when you joined up with the Heat, you're one of the best players in the NBA. You were a perennial All-Star. You were a household name. Anthony Davis very much in the same situation, going to play with a guy in LeBron James who yourself, Kevin Love, and others have said requires some adjusting because he's that all-world of a player. What is Anthony Davis getting ready for right now as he joins up with LeBron? Do you see him having to make any adjustment?
I don't see him having to make too many adjustments. He's of course, he's going to have to make some, and LeBron is too. And when I say those things, LeBron has to make adjustments as well. That's a challenge that's on his plate because, great players have to adjust to other great players, and, that's just a part of the game. I don't see him having to adjust much. Anthony Davis, I always tell people he was the first guy when I was playing, getting a little older in the league, and I knew, like, man, this kid is going to be good. Let me try to, take advantage of this for a couple more years before he figures this thing out. Now I think he's figured it out. When he's on top of his game, I mean, he's one of the top 5 players in the league with the propensity to be the best player in the league, in my opinion. He's a tremendous talent on both ends, and they're going to be very tough to deal with. I don't really see him having to make too many adjustments because, today's game is faster. He's going to be able to get more shots. He's going to be able to spread the floor. He's going to be able to pick and roll. He's going to be able to use his talent on defense as well. I mean, I look for him to have a really, really big year next year.
11-time NBA All-Star with us in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Maybe specifically with LeBron and that Heat team. I know you said you guys knew each other for the longest time. Dwyane Wade was already down there. But what was the first maybe conversation amongst the three of you where it's like, hey, let's really think about putting this together in the way that we foresee?
Well, it kind of happened naturally over the course of the actual free agent process. Everybody had a lot on their minds, and it wasn't really much talking at first. I remember we were all taking me and Dwyane and I were taking our meetings in Chicago because the late great Henry Thomas was our agent, and we didn't even really want to talk about it, to be honest with you, because it was so mentally draining through that process because, we looked at the Heat and, I knew they had cap space to sign 3, but it was still kind of like a pipe dream back then. So, I didn't really pay much attention to it, and I didn't really want to talk about it because it was very stressful seeing all the different scenarios and the increased money and hearing all the pitches of what every organization can do for you and your brand. You gotta kind of silence the noise after a while and make a choice for yourself.
Kawhi Leonard, one of the few that pulled it off without anybody really knowing what was going on, and then we find out it was to broker that deal first for Paul George. And what free agency does, as you well know, Chris, becomes a domino effect. And one of the last dominoes to fall out of this may be Russell Westbrook leaving Oklahoma City. He and his agent and talking to Sam Presti, the GM Oklahoma City, looking for a trade. And the team Miami has come up to maybe pair him with Jimmy Butler. So let's do what we're allowed to do is hypothetically say that's where he ends up. Does Jimmy Butler and Russell Westbrook put them right in the mix in the East? If not at the top, how far down?
Oh, I would say definitely top 3. And, that's no disrespect to other teams, but, if we're talking talent and ability, big-time game ability and just the hunger, both those guys haven't won a championship, so they're very hungry. They're obviously very good, some of the top talent in the NBA. But, it gives Miami a chance to, work a little bit to their cap space, try to get under the cap through a trade possibly. And then, see if they can fill out a team kind of like the Lakers are doing and build around those two guys. I mean, hey, if I could build around those guys for the next 4 years, I would as well. But it would definitely be interesting. And I think if that happens, it's kind of interesting how after free agency, the power balance is kind of reshifted a little bit, with KD and Kyrie in the East, or KD coming to the East. And then Kawhi going to the West. And then, if Westbrook goes to the East, it'll be a nice little balance of power, and I think that's pretty exciting for the league and the fans.
Listen, the NBA is as wide open as I can remember it in a long, long time with all these moves. And the beneficiaries of all of that are going to be fans of basketball because there's reason to watch so many different teams for so many different reasons. You mentioned, Mike, earlier, Victor Oladipo coming back. And with the players they've surrounded around him in Indianapolis, it's going to be a lot of fun. Chris, I misspoke earlier. I didn't quote your tweet correctly when you signed LeBron James. I think it was, I think I got it right this time.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.